Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of Christ be with you. Today is the 23rd Sunday in Ordinary Time. In our Gospel passage today, Jesus speaks to us about the price of discipleship. He invites us, of course, to become His disciple, but we have to fulfill a certain condition, or what I may call a certain disposition. Jesus was a controversial preacher. He was a popular person. He was very famous. So it is understandable why so many people were following him. Just as we have today celebrities, in social media, you have all kinds of followers. You don't know who are they. But sometimes you can know just a few, especially those who are committed to you. But in the life of Jesus, we understand that many people were following him for different reasons. Just as I said, in social media, people follow you for so many reasons. There are people who follow you because they like the way you dance. Some follow you because they like the way you preach. Some follow you because they like the way you smile. Some follow you because they like the way you get angry. So there are so many reasons why people follow those they follow as celebrities. So Jesus noticed that so many people were following him, and suddenly he turned to them, he turned back to remind them that this is not just some sort of jamboree, just like so many people attend crusade. Some attending crusade for for just prayer. Some going to crusade to dance. Some go to crusade because they want to meet new friends. So at this moment, let us remember that Jesus was facing Jerusalem. He was going to Jerusalem. What happens in Jerusalem? He was going to die in Jerusalem. He's going to embrace the cross in Jerusalem. But those who were following him at this moment did not fully understand that Jesus was going to be crucified. In fact, they were thinking that he was going to win a crown, political crown in Jerusalem. So it was very necessary for Jesus to remind them that discipleship is not some sort of bed of roses. No. It has to do with sacrifice. It has to do with commitment. If you look at verse 26 of this passage, you will notice that it sounds so anti-family, quite disrespectful to the parents, and of course, it is a little bit suggestive for depression, unless you hate yourself. Depression, we know, can lead to suicide. So, was Jesus advocating for any of these things? No. If you take what Jesus was saying literally, it means that he was contradicting himself, because this is the same Jesus who promoted family. This is the same Jesus who promoted the basic foundation for family, which is love, love. So, what was Jesus talking about? Now, in the time of Jesus, even when you look back to the Old Testament, you will notice that most of the preachers use what we call Semitic hyperbole, which is also, in simple terms, we may call it exaggeration for effect. That's what Jesus was basically using. Jesus is not asking us to go hate our parents or hate yourself and kill yourself. No, that's not what Jesus is advocating. What Jesus meant when he says hate oneself or hate the people around you is basically an invitation for us to love ourselves less and love God more. It's an invitation once again to give God the first place in our lives. It's an invitation to give love, love, the first place in our life. And that's why our second reading today gives us a perfect example of what Jesus is inviting us to do. In St. Paul's letter to Philemon, a believer, a co-worker, a friend, and above all, a brother. That's what St. Paul calls Philemon. You see, when you look at that letter, which is our second reading today, you will see clearly what Jesus wants us to do is to treat everyone as a brother, to treat everyone as a sister. When we have the love of God in our hearts, we will begin to see everyone as the image of God. We will not, make a sort of class society. No. It will be a classless society. It will be an egalitarian society. A society where everyone is treated equal, where everyone is respected equally, where everyone is welcomed, accommodated, accepted as a human being, basically. Because that's what love is all about. Love equalizes everyone. Love accepts everyone. Love welcomes everyone. Love, treats everyone equally. So, my dear friends in Christ, the invitation of Jesus to you and to me today, in the things he said, like hating and of course taking up your cross, is basically an invitation to us to embrace commitment, for us to embrace loyalty, for us to embrace obedience, for us to make God the number one in our lives. That when I think, God becomes the number one in my thoughts. Before I speak, God becomes the first person to control my words. Before I act, God becomes the major person who influences my action. It's all about saying that love should be the first in our lives. So, my dear friends in Christ, for us to achieve this invitation for commitment, for loyalty, for obedience, for total surrender, there's one thing we have to do, and that is detachment. We can never attach to Jesus. We can never attach to love. We can never attach to kindness unless we detach ourselves. It's the best way to attach is to detach from the things that are toxic. That's why towards the end of this gospel, Jesus talks about renouncing. To renounce means to break away. To renounce means to reject. To renounce means to abandon. To renounce means to, in Bizarre we say saliquai. You have to reject. When we talk about breaking away, we have to break away from the thoughts of discrimination. We have to break away from the thought of superiority. We have to break away from the thought of hatred. We have to break away from the thought of wickedness. We have to break away from so many things. When we talk about detachment, it's not just about detaching from material possessions, but we are talking about detaching from prejudice, detaching from bias, detaching from bitterness, detaching from unforgiveness, detaching from everything that destroys our relationship with one another. So, my dear friends in Christ, we are invited today to embrace commitment. Commitment is one word that is gradually disappearing even in our society today. There are so many men who would like to live with women without being committed. So if a man is living with a woman without talking about, wedding, that man is a coward. If a woman is living with a man without agreeing to, making a commitment through matrimony, through solemnization of the marriage, that woman is also a coward. Because many of us, we want to enjoy being together, but we don't want to be committed. So the invitation of Jesus, my dear brothers and sisters, today is to embrace the life of commitment. We have to be committed. And that is actually a demonstration of love, a manifestation of charity. Unless we get committed in whatever we are doing, it does not show that we love. So, finally, let us remember that we are not asked to hate anyone, rather, we are asked to love. Love and love and love until it hurts. Let me tell you, love is true when it hurts because love, by nature, is sacrificial. God bless you, and I wish you a happy Sunday.